Hello, everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself and Welsh. Today, I'll be talking to Her Excellency, Vice President of Liberia, Joel Howard Taylor. She'll be talking to me about being a woman in politics. On this special day of International Women's Day, I really think it's important we shine a light on those who have overcome obstacles to be where they are today. It's very challenging for many women to be successful. So many barriers are thrown at our faces, so many difficulties. We have to take care of our homes. Every responsibility tends to fall on a woman. So sometimes managing it all and still having a successful career, whether in business or politics, always seems impossible. But Her Excellency Joel Taylor has managed to achieve this. Who is she? Let me just give you a little bit about her. She's currently the Vice President of Liberia, with a resounding mandate from the people to represent their interests, hope, and aspiration. She's a graduate, stateswoman with a vision for affordable but quality education. She is also a senior ranking member of the Liberian Senate, serving on many communities. She's won many national and international awards for her work on gender advocacy, youth development. She's won Senate of the Year and Humanitarians Award. She's a woman who's so determined to bring about change, especially when it comes to women, girls, to encourage more and more girls to pursue their dreams and believe that it can be done. I'm so excited to have her join us today on this special International Women's Day special conversation with Painless Universal. Meet Her Excellency, Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Joel Howard Taylor. Welcome everyone to Painless Universal, conversation with myself and Welsh. As I said in my introduction, today is International Women's Day, and we have a very lovely celebration to talk about all women and girls, to talk about challenges we've overcome over the years. But in this particular conversation, I have Her Excellency, Joel Taylor, to tell us about her own journey. As I said in my introduction, she's the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia. I'm super excited to have her with us. How are you, Your Excellency?
Well, Anne, I'm so glad to be here with you today. It's such an exciting time. Tomorrow begins our International Women's Day, and I believe we'll be celebrating all month. Yeah. Even though I'm one of those who believe that every day should be a Women's Day because of what we do, because of who we are, because of the impact we make, not just in the present, but in preparing our children and our families for future events. Every day should be International Women's Day. But again, we didn't have this day before, we now have it. So let's celebrate. Let's just remember that as we move forward, we must do all we can, especially for those of us who've gotten on the stage and God has given us such a special opportunity to impact the lives of others. We must remember that we have to turn around and make sure that the next generation is stepping behind us so we don't leave a vacuum. But I'm really happy that I'm alive. I'm really happy that I have this chance to see a face, and I'm really happy to be here. So thank you for the invitation. I'm really grateful.
No, I'm more grateful to you because I think you're doing such an amazing thing, especially being a vice president in on an African continent, a country, and you know how difficult the views of women in Africa is still very strong. There's still that massive divide. Women have fought so many years to get that equal, but it's not really happening on the fast pace that we all want to see. But before we get into all of that, can you just tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're into politics?
And Anne, that's always such a very difficult question, but I'll try to make it short. I'm just a regular person who happened to have taken a step in my journey and found myself where I am. Truly, I went to school here in Liberia. I graduated from the University of Liberia, and then I traveled to the United States for about 10 years, doing my master's, and then I came home. I got married to Charles Taylor and became the 21st First Lady of Liberia. And that is how my political journey began. Because we're in a crisis and internal conflicts when he was president, I couldn't be the ordinary First Lady holding tea and having my friends over and gossiping and talking about issues. I couldn't do any of those because there was actually an active war within our country. And so I had to switch my role of just being a wife to actually getting in the field and working. And it gave me a chance to visit across the length and breadth of my beautiful country. I met some of the most amazing women during this 6-year journey. I visited displaced camps. I provided support for women and girls, whether it was fees for schools if they had a school open because there was a war. A lot of the issues were medical issues of rape, and issues of harassment, issues of people being displaced from where they had originally come from to being in either large school buildings or under tents. And it was a very difficult moment. But I believe, women are very resilient, and we managed to get out of this. A good portion of our country came out of it alive, and we're able to put the pieces together. But I never dreamt of being a politician. It wasn't in my view. It wasn't in my plan. And I always tell people this story about how my father hated politics. I graduated from high school in 1980, and I went to the university in 1981. Remember now, 1980, President Talbot had been killed. Different 13 members of government were put on the pole across from the executive mansion and shot. Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf had gotten arrested. So the whole country was in a turmoil. And so my father asked me my first day at the university, what are you going to do? What are you going to study? And I said, Daddy, I don't know. Today's orientation. I'll go and listen to all of what they're going to tell us, and then I'll make up my mind. And then he said to me, young lady, just remember that politics is not for women. See, Madam Sirleaf is now arrested. The politicians have turned our country upside down. There have been promises that haven't been fulfilled. And he went on and on and on. And then I said to him, but Daddy, what do I want to do with politics in the first place? I'm just a little girl at 17 years old. I'm like, what do I want to do with politics? Is not on my mind. And I don't know what my father saw that morning. He called me back twice to ask me the same question. And I gave him the same answer. As a result, I went to the university. I didn't take part in student politics. I didn't join any of the clubs. I just went to school and came home. Many, many, many years later, I became the wife of a politician and become first lady of a country in crisis. And my political career began. I saw that there was a great need for genuine Liberians who were really interested in transforming the lives of our people to get involved. And so when elections came about in 2005, the same elections on which Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf got elected, I happened to get elected as a senator of the third most populous region in my country. And I began this political journey. I became senator twice, and then I became vice president. And it's really been from 1997 to this year, about 20 something number of years, 24 years, I believe. I've been a politician for 24 years, and can you imagine? But it hasn't been easy, but I think I just made a turn. It wasn't planned. I didn't have a purpose to do it. Somehow, I guess God chose me, and Liberians chose me to represent their interests, first at the local level and now at the national level. And so here I am.
Congratulations, because many girls will be looking up to you, and I mean, being very contented with themselves, seeing that there's a female who's managed to overcome obstacles to be where you are. We'll get to your political journey later, but one of the things I was recently reading about you, with light of the pandemic, It's caused so much pain to so many people. And I saw recently that you had to go away because you were so taken ill from this. The COVID 19, how have this personally impacted your life?
Well, we got up one day and the world had changed. Uh, there were stories of COVID everywhere.
Mm.
People were panicking, governments shut down, businesses closed because everyone was so afraid. And I sat in my home one day and thought about those little girls who were out there without any support. Of course, once businesses close and people aren't working, parents, whether female or male parents, are unable to go out and earn a living, and things become very difficult. Whether it's a war or whether it's a COVID pandemic, or whether it is just a economic recession, what happens is that women and children suffer in each of those instances. And so I determined I would reach out and provide food rations, um, help kits, sanitary napkins, things that women need to the different groups. I have an NGO called the Jewel Starfish Foundation. And so I use that foundation to go out and provide support to more than 2,000 girls across my country. And I think I went to a few of those places myself. But Anne, if you see the pictures, I had on my mask, I had on gloves, I had on long pants, and the sleeves of my jacket was long. So I felt I was covered. I can't tell you exactly when I actually got COVID. I don't know where I contracted it, but I think in my journey and I went to maybe 4 or 5 places only. Somehow I contracted the disease and I got really, really, really sick. The airports have been closed, and so I had to get permission to go from Liberia to Ghana. And I went from one hospital in Monrovia to another hospital in Accra. And I stayed in the hospital for 35 days in ICU and another 10 days in emergency care. So you can just imagine how difficult it was. I was really, really, really ill. I kept thinking where I got the COVID, where did I contract it? But I said to a group of young people the other day, I know that the intervention that I made, providing those food rations, actually saved the lives of many persons. And so if someone were to ask me again, would you do it again? I mean, knowing what I know now, I would maybe have on a mask from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet, but I would still go out there because people needed someone to just show that they cared. And I think that was important for me.
Yeah, no, I'm so glad you're so much better and you look very well because I think everyone underestimated the COVID, and some people even said, conspiracy theory, Africa is a hot continent, some part of Africa will not, the sun will kill it. So, sharing your own personal journey really, really highlights that the COVID thing is very serious and everyone needs to take on this message of whatever we could do to get rid of this virus very seriously. On that note, as we celebrate International Women's Day, there's a key message that we're all getting and key thing that we're learning from this COVID. And this is that women at large have felt the pain the most. Due to the pandemic, a lot of women are losing their job faster. They're having the pressure at home to keep the house going. They're subject to abuses. In your opinion, Your Excellency, how can society help women progress again as we heal from the COVID 19?
And sadly, COVID has exacerbated the issue of sexual and gender-based violence.
Yeah.
So women are marginalized because they're not out as often as they should in order to provide for their homes. There's a stranger out there that you don't know. And it's not like Ebola that someone has to be actually sick before you can contract it. It's in the air. And all you have to do is step, in the wrong place. It's like a landmine. While women are thinking about how to keep safe, how to keep their children safe, people are struggling with abuse. Again, the male members of our families aren't able to go out as often as they would like. And so they're stuck home many hours a day. And so the high level of frustration is also eating at them. They're unable to go out and, like we say in Africa, hustle, to bring bread and butter to their families. So you can just imagine how high the level of frustration is. And we're dealing with all of this. We're dealing with the fact that people are saying, wear your mask, wash your hands as many times as you can and keep safe. But in the midst of this, women and girls are actually at the brunt of a lot of the negative things that are also happening in the homes. They've lost serious income. Homes have lost serious income. So COVID has really wreaked havoc on the life of an ordinary African woman. And people keep dying. I mean, the numbers keep rising. I think what is helping us is the fact that we are in an environment where there is a lot of heat. And so our climate helps us in many ways, that we're not able to get sick as we should. And I think that is helping us in many, many, many ways.
I'm so glad how you talked about that, because it's true. So many people, so many women are victims of this COVID-19. And I just hope that together, if we women come together and support one another, make an alert, keep ourselves, know that we're there as a support network, I think there will be good things that will shine out of this rather than negative. I'll go on to this really interesting quote from your former president, Her Excellency Elaine Johnson Sirleaf. She said, women in the country face marginalization from their male counterparts, particularly in politics, as evident by having one female currently leading a 13-member Liberia Senate. You yourself have famously said, if we do not look forward to get women in position of trust, we will continue to be where we are. How do we start within our home to get women believing they can be in that position of trust and power?
And the fact of the matter is that every woman is capable of taking on awesome responsibilities and dealing with it. If a person can carry a baby for 9 months and nurture that baby and take care of that baby and ensure that that baby is able to achieve their dreams, whether they're male or female, and we work with our children until they become successful, I believe any woman, anywhere, can be whatever she wants to be. However, society has put in place some frameworks that make you believe that you are incapable. And so when we're young, the world is at our fingertips and we can do almost everything. The older you get and the more closer you get to power, then the doors start to close. What I've seen over the last 24 years is that when someone like Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf became president of Liberia as the first female elected, many women were on the scene at different levels. She proved to the young girls across Africa and the world, hey, I'm just an ordinary woman. I came from being a mother of 4 children to the president of the republic. You can be that too. We have to keep working at it because there are stereotypes, there are perceptions, even at the family level. You can imagine my father telling me, don't do politics, Jewel. It's not for women, when I was just 17 years old. And at that age, women were really allowed to be teachers, nurses. We were support staff. We supported the dreams and aspirations of our male members of our family, if they were fathers or sons or husbands. But we weren't expected to have our own dreams and our own aspirations. And I think looking back over the years is saddening for me. Once a woman gets off the stage, the doors again seem to close. You will find out that if a woman is in a position, whether elected or appointed, and something happens and she ends her tenure or she moves on to another position, or she just gets tired, they never replace her with another woman. They always replace her with another man. So it's like, okay, we're just trying this. It's just an effort to see what women can do, but it's not systemic as it is in Rwanda. And every time we talk about women's empowerment, I think about how His Excellency Paul Kagame has managed to put in the brains of everyone, regardless of who you are, that it actually is a partnership. And I had a chance to visit in my early years as a senator, and I was speaking to the male Speaker of the House at that point, maybe 2009 or 2010. And I had taken some of the men from the legislature on this trip, and they were really male chauvinists. And so we sat with the speaker and we're talking to him about how has Rwanda managed, to put in place what they have. And my dear, he said to them, I'm surprised that you come from an African country and you don't know that the mother is the most important figure in the family. Even you can be maybe 70 years old. Once your mother is alive, you will always go to her, even if she's just a house help or if she's just a housekeeper. If she has never worked a day in her life, you will find every son going to that mother, pouring out his heart, talking about his challenges, asking for advice. So if the woman is incapable of being all that we hope we can all be, then why are the men asking the mother for help? He says, if you Liberian young men would begin to think about it that way, then it will make a difference in the way you see things. And I thought it had sunk in the hearts of our male counterparts who were members of the national legislature at the time. But when we got back to Monrovia, it was just business as usual, and I was really disappointed. We've tried for many years to put in our laws quota issues so that women have a platform to stand on, and they've systematically shut it down because, again, we're in a male-dominated legislature. Over the years, we've lost many women. The Senate now has one female senator out of 30. There's one who we think has won her seat. Two of them who I think have won their seat, but they're being challenged in so many ways. They haven't taken seat yet. So for the moment, we have one female senator, and in the House of Representatives of 73 members, I think we have 7 or 8 females. So you can see how difficult our situation is. In the cabinet, we probably have 2 females out of 24. And so the numbers are really, really, really low. What all of us hope to do is to continue to encourage women, because when they look at the negativity, there's a lot of abuse. There's a lot of mental and physical abuse. There's a lot of threats in the political system. All of the political parties in Liberia, and there are about 25 of them approximately, you have only 2 females that are head of those political parties. I'm one of the female heads of my political party, and the one female in the Senate is also head of her political party. So out of 25 political parties, you have 2 women at the helm. They have this women's wing position that women hold, but you have a National Executive Committee of 54 members, and you might have 3 women. So I mean, from the lower level of the political stratum all the way to the top, women continue to lose seats. And when you talk to prominent women who have the capacity, the first thing they say, Chua Howard Taylor, you're one of a few women who have the strength to do what you do. And I keep telling them I keep carrying on because I don't have a choice. If you don't stand up and girls don't see you stand up there without tears in your eyes, and even though your heart could be broken, you have to keep standing up still. You have to keep acting as if you're strong. You have to keep giving back, as difficult as it is, because it is a difficult journey. Then women will say, well, maybe this wasn't for us in the first place. So those of us who've made it have a very tall challenge, and it's quite a difficult one.
No, absolutely. You said it spot on. It is a difficult. I think it's almost like a mother seeing your child losing, and you want to cry in front of the child, but you just can't, because you don't want the child thinking you've lost hope, you've lost everything, and that child is looking up to you. So you just described it so well. On that note, you are also a champion of women's rights and empowerment. It's one of your biggest focal area. What is your message for Liberia, or more general for the world at large, on how people should embrace strong women in public office?
Mm. And I want to thank the Women Political Leaders Forum that has just, I think about 2 months ago, given me a new assignment. And my assignment is to create girl to leader initiatives across Africa. Can you imagine, Anne? And it's a big one. And I've been thinking, where do I start? My mother always said, start at home where you are. So on Tuesday, we'll be establishing the first girl to lead an initiative here in Liberia. But I think we must do several things. We must continue to be strong. We must never, ever give up, regardless of how difficult the situations could be. We must remain focused. We must remain committed. And we must remain standing still, regardless of the stones that are thrown at us. I'm not saying it's easy because I know every time the camera turns off, I have to come in and sit on my bed and say, oh God, how did I get here? My father told me not to do this, and then I laugh and say, well, I'm already involved in it. I have to just keep steady. But we can't fail. You have to do your best to be the best that you can be, because we are role models for the ones behind us. And unlike boys, little girls see and understand and become what they see you do. So we are an example to all of the little girls who are standing around and wondering, is this possible? If she can do it, then I can. So for every woman who is removed from her office, whether it's corruption or, she gets tired and she quits, all you tell the little girl is that, hey, okay, that door is open, you can step in. But if you get tired, you can quit. But last year, I got a visit from Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and she visited my office. It was a very trying time. And I was speaking to her as a mother, and I said, Madam Sirleaf, this is too difficult. Why is it that women never actually say the truth? That this is a very difficult walk. Because when you get in it, you just think it's fun and games and you can do, you're moving on, but it's actually tough. And I said to her, sometimes I so want to quit. She says, you better not. In fact, you will never do such a thing. Can you imagine all of the girls who look up to you? And that's the truth. But I think in our small meetings, we need to learn to come together. When you get to this level, you don't have many friends. Everyone is standing back and looking at you. I don't know whether they look at you to see if you will fail, or if they look at you to see whether you will keep standing still, or whether you will be disgraced. But the circle of love, the circle of friendship, the circle of just encouragement that women need at this level at times isn't there. And so it's a very, very, very lonely place. So the door is open. People could step into that boardroom or step on that political stage as president or vice president, or senators or representatives or doctors or scientists or whatever it is. The fact of the matter is that you must be strong. You must remain strong, regardless of the challenges that may come your way.
I love that. I really feel you on that, because it's true. We face so many challenges, but one of the things we always have to remember, that these young girls are looking up to us and they do not want to see she gave up. Because if you gave up, it then becomes too easy for another person just to give up. I really want to ask you, because one thing I do know about women, and I really stand very firm on this, especially someone living with a chronic illness myself. One thing I know about this is that women have a passion they give. They are able to lead and help other people, especially people who are suffering from some kind of disability in any kind of form. Do you think if more women are in position of power, this will attract more attention, this will give more attention to the disadvantaged people of the society?
And I think that's the edge that we bring to the table, for which 50% of our voices should not be shut down. Because we're women, we're definitely different from men. And it took me many years, but someone had given me this book, Men Are from Mars and Women Are from Venus. And I wish I had read that book when I was 18 years old, because I just thought we were the same. And no one took the time to explain, even though we have different features, but a human being is a human being. But when I read that book, I realized how different our mindsets are. The things that we want to see, the things that we dream of, the things that we hope to achieve are quite different. And that's why the saying is across the world now, if you deny the voices of women, you deny 50% of your innovation, 50% of your strength, 50% of your strategy, 50% of your stamina, and it will slow down development everywhere, because we come to the table with different ideas. If well has been decided that a well will be built in a village, and the men are deciding where the well will be, first thing they will say, we have to put the well away, far away from the village because the women make noise when they gather. So they would build a well maybe 3 miles away. Women now have to walk 3 miles with the heavy pots of water on their head back home. Sometimes you have to take 2 or 3 trips. And if it's a little bit too far, then you have to carry all of the children. So each one will have a small pot on their heads just so you wouldn't make 2 or 3 trips. Now, if a woman was talking about a well in a village, I would want it easily accessible to everyone at every point in time. So I wouldn't take it 3 miles out of the village. I will actually put it very near the village so everyone can get water as they need. So even water has become an item of I don't know what the word is, an item of.
Oh, I'm trying to even think of a word. And
it's an item, for things that you easily accessible. It becomes an item now that isn't important to the men when they decide, because it's like, put it where, put it out of the village so we don't hear them make noise. Put it down the hill, they will have to walk. No one thinks about the energy and the effort it takes. But every man, when he gets home, whether from the farm or the job site or from whatever they do when they go out, first thing he does when he gets home is he wants a cold glass of water, cold, clean. How does that water get to your house? But women are being disadvantaged, and that's the word I was looking at. When those things are being done, because it's like, let's keep them away. We don't want to hear the noise that the women make. But our voices are beautiful. They accentuate our villages. They're the beauty of the villages. And so when you think about it, a woman in a position as a senator or representative, where the decisions are made, where water is placed, where the schools are, the men will build some schools 20 miles away. How does a child go into kindergarten walk that far? How? But if a woman were making the decision of where a school would be, it would be right in that village. So every child can go to school and every child can access education. So you see the difference in how we think. And that's what we bring to the table when we become members of the national legislature. In our country, the national legislature is the first branch. Of course, because it is supposed to ensure that the decisions that we take there help our community, help our counties, help our country, help our nation. And so if there are only men at that table, we'll have schools that are 10 miles away. And then by the time a young man or a young girl is 13 before she'll be allowed to go to school because it's so far. Mm-hmm. So you're delaying every single aspect just by the way you design the villages. If you have a palava hut, like we call it in Liberia, which is a meeting place where the elders sit, to discuss issues. It's taking all the way in the forest. Oh, the women won't come here. So let's take it away so only the men can walk, and come. After all, it's about power. So there's a lot happening in our countries. And that's why development is so slow across the African region, because women's voices are silent. And people say, oh, you guys want to just make noise and you guys just want power. No, we want our ideas to come to the table because it makes for better development. And I think that's the difference the woman brings to the table. We must be not just allowed as token representatives to take some of these positions, but our voices must be heeded. Our voices must be included in the development of our countries. When you look at the committees that are set up in the Senate and in the House of Representatives, all of the strong committees like the Budget and Ways and Means, you may have just one woman on that budget committee, even if you have more women in the legislature. Where the power concentration is, where the decisions are being made, it's as if those are holy tables just for men. But the fact of the matter is, if you would think about your daughter, how far she has to walk to go to school, or if you think about how far your daughter has to walk to bring water, or if you think about how far a girl has to go to get wood to cook, if you think about it in those terms, maybe their mindsets will be different. But again, it's the mother that thinks about that because of who we are and how God created us. So it is better politics, it's better democracy, it's just better business to bring the innovation of women to the table so that life becomes easier, I believe, for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Excellency, you answered that question absolutely well, because I think the more women are involved in the table, the more they bring their knowledge, which they gain over the years of being a mother. They see the child, they carry the child, and they absolutely know what the child wants. and they bring that big advantage to the community. And our final question is, what is your special message of hope on this special International Women's Day to women out there who are thinking and dreaming of one day becoming a politician or business leader, but not sure how because of all the negative rumor out there? What's your message of hope to these women?
And first thing I want to say is that all women are politicians. And you may disagree with me, but let me tell you why. It takes a politician to run a house. How do you manage between the wishes and aspirations of your children to keep the balance? How do you manage the father's mandates from the family and ensuring that everyone is still on the path that you guys have set? How do you get your husband to do the special things that you want him to do? Whether it's cooking his special meal or making sure the things he likes are done. All of that is politics, is the art of the possible. So I want to speak to all of the women out there because each of us are politicians in our own way. I hope that we will just step out, step up first, and then step out in whatever situation you find yourself in. Because you don't have to be a politician, you can be a community leader, you can be a community mobilizer, you can be a teacher. All of these things are different aspects of what the woman brings to the table. And we can be all that we want to be. So if your dreams and your passion, which is what drives us, is big enough, like Ellen Sirleaf would say, if your dreams are not big enough, then you're not serious. You must have a dream of being a change agent in whatever situation you find yourself. So as I speak to the women of the world today, I just want to say to you, dream, plan, put in place the things that will make you succeed. Remain focused, because there will be a lot of things along the side that will try to drag your attention. Just remain focused on what you're planning to do. Remain committed to that dream, to seeing that dream come to pass. And last but not the least, reach back and help someone else, because we do need positive role models in every sector of our lives. Each of us must stand up when the call is made and step out. And then whatever your dreams are can actually come to pass, because whatever we believe as women, and we see it in our minds, and like the song says, we believe it in our hearts, each of those dreams can come true.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I really appreciate your conversation and your kind words to so many women. As Vice President of Republic of Liberia, you shine a light to so many people out there. You have done it, and it really shows us that if we believe in ourselves, we could achieve so much. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for your time.
And thank you for this excellent opportunity. I'm grateful. A happy International Women's Day to you, Anne, and to all of the women out there who will be watching.
Thank you. And to yourself as well, and to your beautiful country. Thank you so much.